The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool, which will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, bro, I ever tell you the good news?
No, man, rap him.
Zebediah get married,
Man,
bro.
stop that, man.
I tell you, don't even get him nothing, no gift or nothing.
What? Why are you supposed to get him something for wife number 2?
This number 2, this number 6 or 7 or something like that.
See, that's my point.
Yeah, Zebediah don't... Wait, hold on, bro. You see that over there?
Dog?
Not that, bro. That.
But that's animals?
Yes, bro. And it's like they line up in some type of formation or something like in
Why they
twos.
going in? No, but some of them going in by 7. You see that?
Or shoot 7. Yeah, wait, hold on though. So you think the flood real?
No, man. Because let me show you why. I see this ark before. People do this before, man. They say no.
So Noah ain't invented?
No, man.
Oh.
See, all these people, they coming in with their fancy, smancy things, and they ain't nobody checking for them.
I see, that's why it's hanging around friends like you. You smart, bro. Appreciate
keeps
it,
it
though.
real, man.
I would have been in that ark if it wasn't for you. Just see, bro.
Don't worry about that. I can keep you on the right track.
Appreciate that.
Well, Lord, the door is finally closed. After the 100+ years of preaching, Lord, I was only able to convince my wife, my sons, and their wives. Lord, I'm just trusting in you. No one else believed me, but here I am.
Hey, it's been like a week now, bro, and they still on that. You would have been right there on that ark with them.
Stuck in there for 7 years with all them smelly animals, bro.
And for what?
For what? Hey, that's why I'm glad I hang out with you, you know, though.
Man, look here, I tell you I could keep you on the right track,
Hold
man.
on, but I ain't sure you was scaring out with Ezekiel.
Man, tell me.
Ezekiel get married too, bro.
Man,
Big party, drinks, food, everything, dog. Eating and drinking and marrying everything, dog.
they got the big hog in there, too.
Hold on, you feel that?
No, man, the only thing, you right here talking with a list, you spitting on people, man. You need to keep that in check.
Come on, bro. You trying to be serious right now, bro? Hold on, but you won't feeling that?
Hold on, wait, I feeling this too.
See, I ain't even say nothing just now, bro. That coming from the sky.
Hold on now, we need to go and check in with what's going on.
Hold on, but we need to get in that ark, bro.
Hey, let us in.
Let's get in that ark, bro.
Hey, let us in.
I know I shouldn't have listened to you on Amadeus. Let us in, Noah, please. Please let us in, Noah.
Lord, this must be the flood you promised. Thank you for protecting me, and I guess I just have to trust you now.
The invisible virus of sin had entered the world, corrupting the hearts and minds of the human race. The once perfect race was now spiraling out of control. For although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks to him. They were about to experience the wrath of God revealed from the heavens against all the godlessness and wickedness of man. However, amongst the chaos, God had a plan. Noah, a righteous man, was chosen to be an agent in God's plan. In this episode, we are going to discuss and explore the story of the flood.
last week.
Right where we left off last week. We got Dominic again with us to finish off the Noah saga.
Hello.
So, yeah. Noah. Like we said last week, the world got so corrupted that God decided to hit a reset button. And that's just really impactful. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. The Bible said God repented or lamented that he even made mankind.
Yeah, so verse 6, and it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart.
So just imagine how much sorrow God saw that, okay, let me even take it back first. We were made in the image of God. We were made to reflect his light. So imagine your crowning creation. Man was the crowning creation of creation. But we were the creation. Like God took pride, like everything else God spoke. God formed us from the dust of the earth. We were his children. We were supposed to walk with him. So not only did we fall by introducing sin to the world, mankind became so depraved, so evil.
Evil, bro. Just say it, dog. I ain't gonna lie.
So evil, like God said, bro, my spirit cannot contend with man no longer.
But imagine how evil you have to be to make God regret making man, dog.
And that's the thing about it, because I'm thinking about this, like, and I gonna hit some of y'all out there who into video games, right? Imagine, imagine you got your 2K player.
Right.
You then spend hours. You put time, effort, and energy into my 2K player, right? For all y'all who is play NBA 2K, and you just go ahead and you get so frustrated because you ain't getting nowhere with it. You just go ahead and delete your player just off air. Like I personally, even if somebody delete my player off accident, I'd be hurt.
But think about this, bro. It's like God create the universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
He create like stuff. He create the animals, X, Y, Z, right? Out of all the things he create, bro, the humans get it so wrong to the point where, but I regret, like we serve a loving, a long-suffering, a unconditional loving God, bro. You know how evil the world at large have to be for God to say, bro, I ain't gonna lie, but like, I shouldn't have do this. This was
A mistake.
yeah, like
He regretted it.
And the Bible say every inclination of the heart of man was evil. And but let me just show you. Let me break it down how much more God was really done with the world. He said, guess what? I ain't only wiping out mankind. I am wiping everything I've created from the face of the earth.
innocent, because some of
He said from the face of the earth, men, animals, creatures that move along the ground, birds of the air. I breathe it
Anything
all.
that has breath,
everything.
he's snatching that breath back.
No, but everything, bro. You talking about even plants and then
Facts.
it's done, bro. You see what I
He
said?
was like, just wrap it up. This is a wrap.
We gotta start this one over. It ain't looking good. Like, he looking down there. He like, oh, this. Yeah, we gotta call it. We gotta put an end to this one. Like for real, bro. But this what I want. That's what I want people and like just the listeners to really think about. Right? We live in a world, right? But imagine if every single person you come in contact with was evil. Like the only thing in their mind was evil, bro. The only thing. Like imagine how uncomfortable that word is. And the Bible does say, as in the days of Noah, so shall it be before the coming of the Son of Man, bro. You understand? So, and we see the world rapidly getting more evil and evil. So, because like you could like the fact that we have racism and people die at the hands of racism, you could see that people actually have hate in their hearts. Because literally, you're hating somebody just because of how they was born. Straight up, like people hate people. How people are homophobic. They want to kill people because of their sexual orientation. Some people hate you because of your gender, because of your nationality. It's hating people's heart now. But we ain't even in the type of time. But just off the strength that you have good in your heart and you listening to this, or you know people who have good in your heart, you know we ain't on the level of the people in the days of Noah.
The days of Noah.
You understand? And these was just sick people, just everyone's sick.
Honestly, I feel like right now the way I've been reading this, like you say, there's hate in your heart, but it's almost like hate with a purpose. Like I hate this person because they's a woman, or I hate this person because they, like I feel like back in the day it was just hate
Without a cause.
without cause. Just pure unadulterated hate.
Indiscriminate hate, man.
Exactly.
Indiscriminate
Hey, but at least they keep the same energy though. You see what I said? You can't say they was faking. You can't find no flaw in their hate, bro. I hate them just cuz. Just off the strain of hate, bro.
Yeah, so now I want to paint this picture. Imagine through all this chaos, all this turmoil, all this evil going on, God still found someone that was still walking with him. The Bible says Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his generation. And guess what Noah do? Bingo!
I thought he was gonna say it, so I just waited down.
I had to sneak it in slow because I wasn't sure.
I say, no one
I
can
had
say
to make sure.
Yeah, and the reason why I want to put emphasis on that, right? The last person that we have reference to walked with God, and up to this point, was Enoch. And so it's something special when the Bible say a person walked with God.
No, that's crazy.
Like, wow. So now, and yeah. Noah had 3 sons, Sam, Ham, and Japheth. Were they triplets? Like, I
Hold on now. Hold on. No. Were they triplets though? You see what I'm saying? Like,
All right. So, just the only thing that we really have on this question is going back into chapter 5 and verse 32. The last chapter in Genesis chapter 5, the last verse of Genesis chapter 5 and verse 32 says, "And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth." So just in the structure of that verse, it lends to believe that these guys was born at the same time. Yeah, what you saying there?
So God came to Noah and was like, okay, this me paraphrasing, but I see how corrupt the world is, and guess what? I'm going to start over. And we have evidence to say that when God already put the number on mankind and say, bro, y'all got 120 more years left. So he went to Noah and say, guess what? Mankind corrupt. I am going to send a great flood. I am going to start over, and I want you to follow my instructions. Just imagine being Noah at this point now. Like, go on this journey with me. You have this close relationship with God, right? And God gave you such solemn news in your relationship with him. God saying, I really want to grab this to sink in. God ain't saying, okay, 1 or 2 people going to die, like with Abraham. Okay, yeah, Sodom and Gomorrah is going to perish away. God's saying, guess what? I am going to destroy this world.
the whole world.
Though I am going to send something that y'all can't even fathom. And I want you to build me a massive boat. I know we ain't get to the boat yet, but I want you to build me this massive boat. But just the solemnity of I am going to destroy the world. Like, we know the world going to end now with our normal minds, but just imagine not even comprehending that this could actually happen.
Or whatever. But my whole thing about these stories now is that everything we're learning is the first that is happening. You said I saying the first murder, first sibling rivalry, etc. And now God is gonna just destroy a whole everything. You know what I mean? Like this is the first time this was
the precursor to Jonah.
The precursor to a lot of things, bro.
Yeah.
You understand? Because it's like same thing happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. It's like when the Israelites they put war with the Philistines. It's like stuff like that that's happened. Like when the night of Passover and all the firstborns died. It's like you had these people, they had instances of people dying by the hands of God multiple times. It's like you don't have to question what God dealing with. But at this current time, bro, people had no evidence to understand what God was willing to do under certain circumstances. You know what I'm saying? And now Noah is like, because he was blessed and he walked with God, he had to hold the gravity of God actually destroying the earth and everything, the earth as he knew it. Then the entire antediluvian world is done, wiped out. So even before that happened, imagine somebody giving that to you, bro.
We could come back to that, but I just wanted to pose one thing to y'all, right? If we look at every single time that Noah, not Noah, but every single time that God got frustrated with the people on earth, and it's happened multiple times where God was like, man, I just gonna knock all these people off and start over. You know what I mean? Like, whenever God goes to one of his chosen, like we see it with Abraham, we see it with Moses. God goes to these people and he's like, all right, I gonna get rid of these people, this group of people, or I gonna get rid of everybody and just, start over. And what these prophets do, they is try and reason with God.
Yeah, there's reason.
They is try and reason with
God.
Like,
they always is reason.
Yes. But y'all notice Noah ain't reasoning.
See what to give Noah some bail, bro.
No, hold on. I don't think Noah need any bail. Cause why? I believe that Noah understood exactly the fact that Noah walked with God. He understood exactly where God was coming from.
I even paint a different, like even a slight difference too. Them other times, bro, God was just saying I was going to destroy a specific city or a certain group of people. This time, but God literally said I'm destroying the world. Is even more
gravity.
See, but I think that's even more incentive for Noah to reason.
You would think so, but going back to Dominic's point, he probably understood like,
see,
you must saving this.
Right.
Exactly.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact.
I think, like, God, here's the thing. God, in those other times, God opened himself up to reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
God really
he asked.
No, he said, I want you to do this.
Like God telling you, bro, God telling you, I am killing these people, and guess what? You need to build this ark. Like, guess what you need to build this ark. So it was like God saying, I'm doing this, and here's what you need to do.
See. Oh, my bad.
Oh, sorry, my bad too, right? Yeah. But like with Moses, with the Moses example, when God say, okay, I'm going to start over with you, he was essentially saying, like, he's saying, yeah, I should right now. God, Moses like, nah, God, no, they still your promised children or whatever. To me, God opened himself up different with Noah. And it was like a different test. Because the test with Moses was more saying that, hey, let me see where your heart really is in all of this. Noah's test was, how much faith are you going to have in me during these circumstances? Because you have to have faith that what I'm telling you is true and it's actually going to happen. You have to have faith to actually build this boat for 120 years. You have to have faith knowing that all these animals are about to come to you through all this. So it was like a different test for different prophets or different patriarchs in the Bible that they was going through.
I am no measure of faith, but I think Noah's faith was probably like the biggest test, like by far. Like,
I agree with you.
Personally, I feel like nobody else, bro, throughout the Bible, excluding Jesus, had to have this type of faith. Period.
Exactly, bro.
Because
like, go for things you already mentioned. Abraham is used an example of an immense faith because he was asked to sacrifice his son. At the end of the day, Abraham only had to contend with Sarah making noise in his head about Isaac.
Yeah, and then true. See, Abraham was like, it's like we don't really have much evidence of Abraham's family and stuff like that, but it just showed like how Abraham was a righteous man and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? But he lived around in a place that everyone was just worshiping idols and stuff like that. So like he had to have faith in God, considering that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. The big test was having a son or whatever. And it's like you don't really, like you say, bro, you don't really have to deal with a lot of different people getting mad at you, a lot of different personality, a lot of just a lot of different variables. And it wasn't much variables except besides the fact that this is your first lawful son who you was waiting on the whole time, and now God telling you to take that away. And that's heartbreaking. But Noah, number one, Noah had to exemplify faith when no one else in the world had faith. You understand? I talking about Noah as his family, because they probably had faith as well. But the rest of the world was super evil, but you the only nice guy. So you know what that looked like? You look like you the wrong one in that situation. You understand? So essentially in the world, you was the menace to the world, bro. Like seriously. You feel me? Cause that's just how it is at the end of the day. When everybody, it's like if everybody weird and you the only regular person, you actually the weird person.
It's like when it's literally when you are the goody two shoe in the group, for lack of a better word. So literally and truly, you are doing the right thing. You're trying to speak sense to everybody, but to everybody else, bro, you
wrong. You wrong for that, bro. Like
wrong.
what you doing, bro? Like why you telling the teacher that she forget to pick up the homework, knowing that ain't no one else do it? You understand? I feel like that's how they viewed him. That's number one. And then number two, he had to actually, bro, you know when they say, bro, you got to be in the world but not of the world, bro? He had to throw away any attachment to the world that he had because it's gone. You have to eat that, and then you have to build this. You have to build this big ark. You understand? And then you have to preach to people, bro. You have to preach to people who evil. You remember when they asked Jonah to do that? Jonah was like, I ain't doing that. Jonah run, bro. Jonah do everything in his book not to do it, and God was like, oh, you think you were doing it? I'm telling you, you're doing it. You know what I mean? So. In the world of faith, like I don't feel like anybody else had to exemplify faith, and that just go to show how close to God Noah really was. Because I don't think people really understand how bro, like how on one accord you gotta be with God to even get that. Because God have to trust you with it, not to fumble it. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people can fumble it, bro.
Yeah, and just one more. I just wanted to one thing that was coming to mind. In terms of Noah's faith, right? Like if we go back to Adam and not Adam, to Abraham, like Abraham, yeah, God tested his faith, but he's like if you have like even the most basic reasoning, you could say, man, God give me one son, he could give me another, you know. Like you obviously there's more, you know, emotional attachment to it. You know, there's my firstborn child, and you know all the stuff that come around with it. But you could, at the end of the day, you still could come to the conclusion, God brought me here, he could bring me back. You understand what I'm saying? If you look at like Moses or Job, you know, people who have tested, who have had their faith tested, they still had something to look forward to. Like there was still something there. Like Job, he lost everything, but he had it at one point. You know what I mean? And when he went through all of that, he still had, you know, God gave it back to him sevenfold. But with Noah, this was like the first anybody's ever seen of a flood. Like there was like rain was not a thing. You know what I mean? And God telling you that, you know, it's like water's gonna start falling from the sky, you know, and it's not just water coming from the sky, water's gonna be coming up from the ground too. Like you're gonna get hit from both sides, you know what I mean? And you need to now build this boat that nobody's ever seen one of these things before to protect you from rain, which nobody's ever seen before. Like it's like almost the ultimate test of faith, you know.
And that's basically how I feel about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like he was a good man, bro. No, he was a good man, bro. I can't think of much guys who could have hold that type of assignment. You know what I mean?
A righteous man, blameless in his generation.
Yeah, but let's get into the structure.
Yeah, that's what I was going to segue into next. So, what I want you to do though, because I don't have the King James version in front of me, but because my Bible try to break it down in feet, right? But I want the original King James where we talk about cubits.
What chapter you starting at? 15?
No, this verse.
Verse 15.
Yeah, verse 15. Verse 15.
Yeah. So read it out.
Yeah.
And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits.
Bing, right? So now, the reason why I say that, so in a cubit is the length of your forearm. So it's a weird measurement because like who forearm you measuring?
Right.
And so, but here's the thing. So it's two things I want you to think about this, right? In our modern modern measurement for a cubit, that's anywhere between like 2 to 3.5 feet, depending on, some people got some really long limbs. So now when you break this down, the ark was anywhere from 450 to 510 feet tall. I mean, long. So now put that in perspective. People who like basketball, that's about not even 4, that's 92, 94 feet. That's about 5 to 5.5 basketball courts stacked right all in one. Lengthways, yeah, my bad. Y'all know what it is.
Yeah.
That's people like football. That's 1.5 football fields with the end zones. And so now that's just how long it was. Wide, that's anywhere between 45, no, it's like 75 feet wide, 75 to 90 feet wide. And tall, anywhere between 45 to 50 feet tall. But now here's the next thing. That's by our modern arm lengths. We know the antediluvians was more superior than us. So now, who knows how long Noah's forearm really was? Because because when God said cubit, bro, God essentially saying, bro, use your measurement that you know. So the ark might even be grander than our even measurements, but even by our measurements, the ark wasn't no small boat. And that's the next thing to remember. Like, God told Noah what to make it out of. God told Noah the dimensions. God even say, bro, I want 3 floors. I want a door on the side. I telling you how to build this thing. And the Bible give us the general instructions, right? And I have no evidence of this, but I know God essentially was there. We know Noah had this relationship with God. Like, God was instructing Noah as he built it, how to build it. Because we have no evidence. Like, this is like the first ark ever built, but clearly Noah knew kind of what an ark was. Or God even told him, like, hey, this is what an ark is going to be. But God's saying these are dimensions. So this is a colossal structure. Like, just based off these measurements alone, you know how big a sheep is, right? But this building could hold over 200,000 sheep. But now when you start thinking about how God started telling them, okay, all the clean animals, yeah, you get 7 of them, male and female of their kind. All right, what else? You got them stuff that crawl on the ground. Bring me 2 of them, male and female of each kind. Imagine this, guys, right? Now, I could paint as a non-believer in that day. You had this old man talking about the world could get destroyed because I got to build this big boat now. Even if I didn't believe what he was saying, because I think he might have been on something else. You see all the animals coming? Like, we know there are animals even extinct now.
That's what tripping me out, bro. Because there's plenty of animals now, bro.
And we have animals that are dying now. So, you got your lions, your tigers, your elephants, your giraffes, your alligators, your crocodiles, your polar bears, your grizzly bears, your panda bears, bro, the thing in Australia, the koala bear made it. The anteater made it. You know what I'm saying?
Right, the aardvark. How you make the cut?
The Komodo dragon made it.
That's what tripped me out. Stuff like the Komodo dragon and thing was making it, dog.
Like, bro, all these different animals made the cut. So you seen all these animals come into this ark, bro. This just shows how evil the world was, in my opinion,
bro,
man.
facts, bro.
Because I'm like, what more evidence do you need to think that something ain't gonna happen?
Nah, I can play devil.
Please do.
A little
Please
bit.
do.
Just
Yeah.
a little bit, right?
Come on, bring it on.
Because
Bring it on.
if we go back to where God was giving Noah instructions, right? Here in Genesis 7 verse 2, right? It says, "Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7s, and male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by 2." So let me read that again in a more clear. I like the New International Version.
I try to figure you would play devil's advocate against
I
you right now.
trying to wonder, yeah. That's what I said.
I was like, I even more to you.
Follow me here. Follow me
I
here.
follow
We going on a journey. So it's in the New International Version. It says, "Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal, a male and its mate, and 1 pair of every kind of unclean animal, a male and its mate. So just in the wording, right? 1.1. Just in the wording, it kind of seems as if Noah was the one who was leading all the animals on board, and not necessarily that they were coming of their own free will. That's one point.
Okay.
Second point, if we are gonna say if we are gonna look at things like, you know, what did make it on the ark, you also have animals that didn't make it on the ark. And as me, as a person, you know, who seeing this crazy old man and he leading all these animals on the ark, I looking at the animals that he ain't bringing on the ark, and I'm like, so what happened to that thing right over there?
So what animals ain't make it though?
No. He's saying animals, but not types of animals that didn't make it.
Yeah, so
it's like you might have two of these tigers. Or you might have two tigers, but it's like thousands of tigers still around who didn't make it.
Okay.
That's basically what he's saying.
So it's like yeah, you got two of them, right? But then it's like, so I mean, what them two supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like I would be looking at you and your
Dominic, trust me, you will not see two elephants walking on an ark following two pigs. You see what I saying? Following a horse. You would not see that and say, boy, what this crazy man doing? You see what I said?
Because here's what I even want you to think about. We got animals that we know today only live in certain climates. The polar bears, the penguins.
Right.
You telling me it looked normal to you to see a hyena walking behind a penguin? Waddle, happy five?
Right. And then
Feet.
and then you got two bald eagles flying behind, two big bald eagles flying right behind that.
Two pigeons.
boy, look here.
And he ain't eating them.
I just saying, right? We have, and that's this.
Imagine how good them zebras was looking at them lions.
But
And then ain't none of them fighting and all of them complying, bro. That's what I trying to. But I'm
hold on, I ain't taking away from your point. I also want to point out the fact that these guys know a lot more about these animals than we did, right? Mm-hmm. So it's also possible that Noah would have had the insight of how to deal with these animals by avoiding all of these.
Hold on, so basically, you're not ruling out the possibility that he could have had this type of control over the animals under normal circumstances.
I'm just saying.
Did you?
It could happen. But hold on, I gotta pose this to y'all again, because Earl did point this out a little while ago, because it's one thing to say that he had
the devil, but
boy, I'm trying to wonder if you're playing right now. This is a safe space, man. You.
No,
you see what I said?
I thought I got my point out very well. But anyway,
hopefully the people think so.
But anyway, I digress. Earl did ask a question. I was talking about the number of animals, but Earl did ask like the type of animals. Like there are animals that didn't make it onto the boat.
Based on number, right? Based on numbers or types?
Like based on types. There are animals that didn't make it on the boat, right?
We don't have evidence to support that. The only evidence we can say is that, like how sometimes different breeds can come about just like how we have so much different races, but we know we only had Adam and Eve. Mm-hmm. You understand? So I guess people assume that, like, I had this conversation with dogs a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's like certain type of dogs, they just like different type of mixed breeds. That's how you get these dogs. So I don't know that they had every single type of a dog. You see what I'm saying? But we don't have evidence to support that they didn't, is what I'm saying.
And I was like, some animals are even like extinct now. Minus the dinosaurs. But like the woolly mammoths and stuff, we don't know when they went extinct. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Granted, the Ice Age and stuff, we can get into that later. But yeah, I ain't saying nothing with substance just now.
I remember one time, I about to follow your lead. I remember one time I was getting off with Earl, right? I playing with him the whole time. I say, wait, I wonder why people don't really ride zebras like how they ride horse. My boy, take a deep breath. Not easily trained. That's what he said. That's his exact words. He take a deep breath like I was stressing him out. He said, Not easily trained.
That's true.
I giving that answer like
No.
I'm really thinking about this.
No, but let me break it down for you, bro. These zebras who are not like horses was following Noah in the ark. You understand? And they're not easily. So basically, Noah had his work cut out for him. If he just was a wizard of some sort, he still was bad too. You see what I said?
But like, even one thing I just want to point out too is that animals are still creatures created by God. And we see even in our normal today's world of animals being in tune with nature.
Fox.
Like how when hurricanes come from the Bahamas, all of us, we see on a normal day, you saw pigeons, crows, seagulls, everything flying around. But after the hurricane, you realize you never see a dead bird.
Wow. I just realized that.
And the reason I say this is so animals are in tune with nature, so they know what are coming ahead of time, but that's also coming from God because God already has these things programmed into them. Just like how in 2004, when the tsunami was happening back in Asia, all the animals before it was happening was running in the line.
Higher ground and stuff.
Before the humans, who are smarter than animals, the animals knew, hold on, something ain't right, nature ought to walk, we out. So I say all this to say that yes, we have no evidence from the Bible that Noah got these animals if they were divinely placed there. But I strongly believe animals who follow the laws of nature, which are God's laws. God told them like, hey, this is going to happen. This is my plan to save y'all. Because God didn't say everything else getting wiped out. This is my plan to save y'all. Y'all need to go here. Because like I said, we have animals coming from different climates, different places in the earth at that point. And they all got saved in this ark.
But this what I saying. Let's say Noah. You just picture a shepherd, right? He leading a flock of sheep. There's be hundreds of sheep. They don't be hundreds of thousands of sheep. Bro, there's no way you can lead all of them animals. If you in the front, you only leading couple. You see what I'm saying? If you in the middle, the people in the animals in the front still have to be on autopilot. You understand? So it's like you can't deny that it was definitely just God leading them. You see what I'm saying? But Noah could have been facilitating. Yeah, he could have been there. You see what I'm saying? But definitely was, because bro, it definitely was God leading them. Because when they get in the ark, how animals know not to stay in the doorway? You see what I'm saying? How to go in so everyone could fit. You know what I mean? And how Moses, Noah, and how Noah, and how I don't even know what I was gonna say there, but how
Noah know how to care for all these animals in that way? How we know how
to park them all in and XYZ and stuff like that, bro. It's like it's a big task.
Well,
one man.
Let me say this, and let me round out my devil's advocacy run, right?
Yeah.
And I guess it's less of a devil's advocate and more thought provoking.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
But if I was a skeptic living in the day, and here's the thing about deception. All you need is a little bit of a lie to corrupt the whole truth. You understand what I'm saying? So it could be any small thing about the whole process. If there's any kind of misunderstanding that and once you latch on to that small discrepancy between what you understood and what we're trying to preach, you already gonna lose the message just off that because you no longer willing to hear the truth. If we, and it was mentioned in the creation podcast that it was just one word. It's just thou shalt not surely die. You know what I mean? So all it takes is a little bit to corrupt, and I just saying all that to say, if I was living back in the day, there's a possibility that I could kind of slightly see where they're coming from.
I get what you're saying, bro.
So like now imagine this now. God closed the ark. You see, like the Bible say, then the Lord shut them in. Boom. God himself closed it down. We know when God do something, boy.
That's a wrap.
Ain't no one doing it.
No one could close
Dominic
the
got me.
door
God
that God
opened.
opened, and nobody can open a door that God closed.
Amen. 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 That's a word. So I think about it. You living in that time. This door closed. You know this man in there with all them animals. What would be going through your head?
I'd be looking at him crazy like, I can't believe this. First of all, the first day, I would have been parried. Nah, when I see all them animals going in there, and then I'd have been like, oh Lord, what's going on for true? That second day, I'd have been like,
Hold on. That first day would I don't think it's just the strength of the animals. What might have happened to me, like once that door closed, I'd be like, what's going on? Like I'd be more curious. Try and open the door. As you see, once God closed the door, you can't open it. I realized, and hold on, this door ain't opening up no more.
And this is the next thing I want to point out too. Like this goes back to the faith with Noah had. Because God told him, God said, okay, I'm going to close the door, but guess what? I ain't even sending the flood immediately. And that was a test Noah too.
boy,
I ain't sending the flood
gone
immediately.
crazy.
God told you, I am 7 days from now, I am going to send the flood. I'm going to open up the flood waters. So now, you trapped in this boat, this ark with all these animals.
All these noisy animals.
Even though you have trust in God, you're still a human. And in this day, I talking with Earl Clinton Roberts II will be going through my head. Yeah, God, you bring me this far. But 7 days, like I do this and I in here, the door didn't close, but you sure it can happen? Because now I think about it now. And this still in my head cannon. You have people outside, bro. They acting a fool now.
They clowning you.
They clown you say, but you done build this ark, you done lock up in this boat, but ain't nothing happening. But day 1, you going through that. Day 2, you going through that. Day 3, you going through that. Bro, these people out there, bro, and you still can hear them. You ain't know what they doing out there. There's still an evil world out there, so we ain't no telling what they willing to do.
And that's what people they probably ain't gonna think about, bro. This an evil world, bro. So they might have want to kill you for less already, bro.
And think about it too, bro. Like, man, the Bible say no man could no man could say that ain't a God. And so even though in all the evilness and wickedness, going back to the example, you know when someone know the right, but they go against it. And so they be the people even going against it even harder. So now, bring back my point. These people, deep down in their heart, they know Noah was a goody two-shoe. They know it. They know he was following God. So as much as you want to deny it, as much as you want to say that ain't a God, as much as you want to say what you try to go against the good, when you see the good happening, bro, it hurt them even more. So I only could imagine what was going through their mind at that point. They might have been scared, but when people scared, they do the craziest of things, bro. They already filled with evil. That's the thing about it. Like people, see, nowadays and age, we have to overcome our good before we get to the evil. They ain't have too much gut to overcome. No, man, that's a serious thing. Cause like we have to build up to 100. These people, they starting off at 99. They ain't got too far to go to hit the 100.
Yeah, and that's a good day. You see what I'm saying, Mike?
So yeah, man. Anyway, let someone else.
But yeah, just another point. You were saying how Noah was gonna be trapped in this boat for 7 days with his wife and his children and his children wives. But you know, we right now still in the middle of a pandemic. You know what I mean? But there was a point in time a few months ago when they was telling everybody don't come out your house.
Boy,
Don't go nowhere.
don't go outside, period.
Just don't. You know what I mean? And even at that point in time, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like, I would be in my apartment and just be like, "Oh my God, when is this thing gonna finish?
Boy,
Like, I need to get out." You know what I mean?
I can be real. I ain't with you, Dre.
That's all right.
I was like when I could finish so that we could get the world back, but I'm like, I so solid, bro, like a turtle in a shell, bro.
No, but some
Introvert versus extrovert.
Telling you.
no, there's no, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm an introvert. Like,
I'm an extrovert.
like I'm like a textbook definition of an introvert. But there's definitely some times when you crave to be around people, even as an introvert.
That's
You
true.
know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
So
It's a spectrum.
Exactly. So it's like one of those things where it's just like, even like that gives you a little bit of insight, and I'm sure there are people out there who agrees with me. Like once you like when you get stuck at home on that quarantine, like you just like 14 days. That's plenty.
Right, it's off the straight that I stay home because I want to stay home.
Right.
Opposed to you telling me stay home. You say
Like
that's a
you
different thing.
inside your house and somebody coming in and locking the door behind you.
Exactly, that'll drive you crazy.
Drop in.
I mean, but then think about what my boy was. Bro, think about Noah, though, bro. First of all, he couldn't have been claustrophobic. He couldn't have been one of them people who's getting miserable and people making noise. But imagine the donkey if donkeys even make it on the ark or whatever. Because then that's a crossbreed. Oh, it would have to.
Yeah, the mule is the.
Oh, the mule. That's what I think about mules. You see what I said?
Yeah, it wasn't no mule. Nah.
Right. So imagine you stuck in the ark with all of that, right? That could drive you crazy. That's number one. We see how during the pandemic, spending so much time with yourself could drive you crazy. You listen to people who go to jail, they talk about you in solitary confinement. These type of things drive you crazy. I've been on mission trips with people for a week where during that 1 week, you start to see things, you start to accept more things from people, bro, that it might things you might not have tolerated earlier. Like you stuck with these people for a certain amount of days. It might be somebody who gets on your nerves. But now you're starting to grow fondness for them. Like I really like them or whatever. But then when you get back into the normal world, it's like, oh no, they still annoying for real. Yeah. You said that they was just growing on me. Essentially. And like, so that's what solitude does to you sometimes. That's why when people go in solitary confinement for so long, they just go crazy because it's just too monotonous, you know? That was Noah's reality. However, when he leaves the ark, that is still his reality. The only difference is he on water now and he inside. But when you come outside, there's nothing, bro. You don't really have much to look forward to.
Mercy.
You feel me? So like,
you get to that, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like straight up.
Yeah. So like, on that seventh day, God likes like number 7. Mm-hmm. On the 7th day. And the Bible gives more details on the 17th day of the 2nd month. But on that fateful day, the world as the antediluvians knew it was no more. So there's a lot of arguments out there between the scientific world and creation, people who believe in the Bible, about a flood, if a flood actually happened. And to me personally, well, obviously it happened because, Earl, you're doing the podcast. Duh. But, okay, so we have multiple instances of different ancient civilizations around the world who have in their mythology, in their history, some semblance of not a creation, but they do some of a creation story too, but a flood story. And don't you think it would be it's just a bit weird that you have people from South America before it was quote unquote discovered. Then you have people ancient China, you have people in the barbarian tribes of Europe before time, all have these instances of a flood. How could so much civilizations that were isolated have some semblance of a flood story?
Yeah, like how could that be a coincidence? You see what I'm saying? So, but like, ain't you even was saying like in Walla Walla, like you could see evidence of a flood, like
yeah, man. So like all across the Walla Walla, Pacific Northwest in general, even when you go down to the Grand Canyon, you can see instances of where these formations only can happen when a massive, and I'm talking about it's hard for the human mind to conceptualize this, but imagine the Grand Canyon being flooded with water. But also this, imagine the Grand Canyon being flooded with so much water, the water is pushing the earth away and sculpting the Grand Canyon to look how it is. And we know how deep the Grand Canyon is. We know how wide the Grand Canyon is. Even though you probably don't know the measurements, just look at a picture of the Grand Canyon and say, wow, water did that. And that can be scientifically proven. And just going off of the...
No, I was just gonna say it's not just the fact that there was water there. It was the movement of water, like how fast that water was going to be able to carry away so much earth that it leaves a literal trace. Hole in the ground where now you can see the path that the water took.
Exactly. And like, so now when we talk about the flood, God said it's interesting what God said he did. God said, I'm opening up the fountains of the deep. Open up the flood waters, opening up the waters from heaven. So now, a lot of people just like when you look at the cartoon creation of the story, you just see like it starts storming. Yes, it started storming. But in all this chaos, I just want you to picture this. Almost every catastrophic event that was happening that we know of today was essentially going off at one time. God was literally destroying this earth and reshaping this earth. Imagine a hurricane going off simultaneously with a tsunami, simultaneously with an earthquake, simultaneously with a volcano erupting. That's essentially what was happening in the time of Noah. Like when God said, I am going to open up the flood water, just imagine all chaos unraveling. Like the fountains of the deep, bro, we just discovered, and the scientists now, like we just discovered underwater volcanoes, I want to say in the 17 or 1800s. I even want to say in the 1800s, more so, or even in the early 1900s, because of just the submarine technology. So even these instances and these terms being used in Genesis shows how a creator God was even describing the earth he created. Because there was no way, they didn't know that there was fountains in the deep back then. You know what I'm saying? So describe all these things that happening, they wouldn't know about that.
And it's like it's so much evidence to support like the hand of God, like during these times. And it's also evidence to support that these people were geniuses still, bro. Because like think about this massive boat that you just described. Some people believe they didn't have power tools. If they didn't have power tools, that make it even more like mind-boggling that he was able to build this boat of this magnitude.
Let's not forget the fact that they didn't have Home Depot, right? So these not only do they have to build this boat, but they have to make the tools that they're using to build the boat. They have to craft. They have to get the hammer. They have to get the saw, the nails.
They have to make the wood.
They have to exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
We do know they have tools though. We
they have tools, but I talking about power tools
they
still.
Have power tools.
We don't know that. Like you said, I saying because like we talk about all the animals that didn't make it on the ark, but there was certain beings that did not make it on the ark that we have evidence to support that existed. I talking about.
Say it. Come on, say it.
Am I a conspiracy theorist for this? No, but seriously though, I'm talking about like just dinosaurs, like just prehistoric creatures. What people think of as prehistoric creatures. You understand? It would make a lot of sense that these beings would have died during the flood, during all of this natural disasters happening, which would make it easier for them to just be lodged deep beneath the earth because the whole earth is being reformed. You understand what I'm saying? So, but then it and I ain't trying to go down a rabbit hole, but then it stems the question like, how were they made? If they were animals, if they were God's creatures, they would have been on the ark. But we know they exist. We have literal evidence that they exist. So I'm thinking that they were creatures, but they weren't God's creatures. They were man's creatures.
And it's so interesting because like if you were to go to the Ark Encounter in Kentucky, which is, I've never been, but I've watched videos and different stuff about it and research. They have dinosaurs on the Ark, straight up.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, they have dinosaurs on the Ark.
Very interesting.
To them, the dinosaurs died after the Ark, or some got wiped away, whatever. But they have like some pterodons and stuff on the Ark.
But you know what's so funny? I don't even know why I ruled that out. You say saying because that's a possibility too.
That is a possibility.
Like one thing, and like next thing we got to realize too. like when we go to these natural history museums and museums of natural science and stuff, right? We're seeing a depiction of what they think was there. And let me rephrase that a little bit. We're seeing a depiction of a world that was already corrupted by sin. We don't know how these things would have looked when God created them. Because there wasn't no killing and stuff when God originally created the world. So there wasn't no need for a T-Rex to have these massive whatever and running around doing whatever. So we're seeing the evidence of sin even in animals. Remember, God literally said too, I am wiping out everything. And so you remember, like, it came to the point where God said, even the animals, like, y'all ain't even being spared from this. No, y'all will die too. So it's so interesting because right now, not being there is a lot of speculation. We don't know when the dinosaurs lived, but we do have evidence that they lived. We don't. Well, we know when they lived, but we don't have evidence like when they were actually died. The media thing, guys, to me, don't really hold too much weight.
Bro, the media thing don't hold too much weight. People living, and we were supposed to mention this last week. The Earth being millions of years, it does not compute. You see what I said?
But even like, I mean, like we can talk about it like now in a brief sense, because like what I was telling you guys even before, like even in science, you are going to find things to corroborate your point. Like people say numbers don't lie, but that's a lie because you could lie to manipulate the numbers and tell you whatever it wants.
That's the fact, bro. Even
I've learned that in engineering. I'm sure you learned that in accounting.
I'm telling you, bro, like as a financial analyst, bro, like just as an analyst, because you have to prove a point. You have to let the numbers prove a point, right? A lot of times you go in there with an assumption and you search to see how the numbers like kind of corroborate the story.
Exactly, too. And so certain things I even want to touch on now, even though we're here. So now when you start looking at these different geological records, right? During the flood, we already say there was massive amounts of earth moving, there's a massive amounts of water moving. You look at these sedimentary layers that were laid down during the flood. And I'm saying they were laid down during the flood because the flood is the only documented time in human history where we say the earth was literally shaking at this cataclysmic event. Water's moving around, the earth was moving. So now as water's moving around, if you ever put like sugar in water or salt in water, right, you shake it up. What's going to happen at the end of it? The salt and the sugar is going to settle back down at the bottom if they don't get fully dissolved. You just put dirt in water, it's going to settle out. So now, as this water is moving, it's yanking up all of this dirt off of the ground. But as the water is moving, the dirt is slowly going to be settling. And we have instances on where they say how long the water was on the face of the earth. So now, when this water settled after the rain stopped for 40 days and 40 nights, everything in the water has to settle back down. As the water goes down, all the dirt's getting settled. So now, as the water's moving, the dirt's just getting pushed around and just dropping because the dirt's heavier than water, so it's going to settle out. You was going to say something? So now you have these layers that were being moved rapidly and getting deposited rapidly. And when I say layers, when you look at this, so you could have multiple layers getting laid down, which scientists would say millions of years, but literally during the flood, these things were getting laid down instantaneously. And you have evidence of that if you actually look at the rock, because you can see one with the flow of the water, and you can see like I forget the term of it right now, so bear with me, right? But if you look at some of these layers and you can see like this only could happen when the earth gets compressed. Usually we can replicate this to like let's say like 2 or 3 inches, right? During some of these layers that we see right now, but they're like 6 feet. So the amount of pressure you have to have from water being above and from earth and do this instantaneously, that's telling you like a lot of these things was getting laid down instantaneously and getting compressed instantly because of the weight of the water above and the weight of the next layer of dirt coming on. And you actually could look at if you even go to the Grand Canyon, different stuff, you actually could see where the water was being squeezed out of the dirt and the different formation patterns. And this goes back to say like science will prove anything you want it to prove. And even having a science degree and being so well versed in science is kind of it's kind of interesting, man, because like we know God exists, but sometimes even in school you hear like some people and some things you learn is try to like discredit God, and it's be like, bro, what, really? But it's like this is a scientist's favorite thing to do.
It's like their favorite thing next to being a scientist is like disproving God. And it's like they just hope that these two things could meet and they try to at any given time. Like, and I ain't even here to talk about them because I am not a scientist. And you know what I'm saying? This ain't really my bag, really. I only can start talking about what I think, and that ain't gonna hold no weight in this. But hold on. Like, I just feel like as a Christian, seriously, as a Christian, you definitely should not subscribe to the notion that the earth is millions of years old. Now, we talk about how painful it is to read the lineages and stuff last week. But, bro, if you do the math, if you add up, it's like I sit down and I add up how old everybody was when they begot whatever. Bro, that was like 1,049 years. It's like somewhere between 1,049 and 1,056 years between Adam and Noah. Between Adam and Noah, bro. You feel me? This is only 1,000-something years, bro. And then Noah lived to be 600 years, and then they have the flood. So 1,600 years, and the earth was done. You know what I mean? They have it's like you could see, like, throughout the Bible, they bring you straight down Noah and his descendants, blah, 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 blah. We going all the way to Jesus, bro. You see what I said?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, we know Jesus was around 220 years ago. You see what I said?
1,000.
My bad, 2020, 220. I missed a whole zero. 2020 years ago.
2020 got them all twisted.
2020 really doing a lot on my mind, dog. I ain't gonna lie. All right. But yeah, so I saying basically like 2020 years ago was Jesus. You know what I mean? And even if you can't trace between Noah to Jesus, you know it was a millions of years.
Man,
you see what I saying?
And to me too, sorry, Dominic, but
Go for it.
to me too, at the end of the day, no matter what you say and no matter what you believe, you have faith in something.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes just as much faith to believe in evolution and a Big Bang. Contrary to whatever you might think, it takes just as much faith to believe in that as it takes to believe in creation. Because at the end of the day, people still don't know what caused the Big Bang. And scientists are going to give you the answer. That's the mystery. I want to figure that out. That's the joy of science. But at the end of the day, you still almost relying on a miracle, because that's what the Big Bang is.
Fuck.
Let me say this, right? This whole concept of, the Big Bang and all that stuff, you kind of see it almost parallels the fall. Let me not even say the fall. Let's go back to the sons of God and the daughters of man, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have one group of people who relying heavily on God, on their creator, and another group of people who are now trying to become self-reliant. The whole concept of, trying to discredit God is trying to take, all of whatever almost into your own hands, to say that, whatever we going through, whatever we doing, it, like, God has absolutely nothing to do with it. We have all of this on our own accord and of our own merit. You understand what I'm saying? And so I don't think that we need to, put too much more thought and effort into it, because at the end of the day, we have to know and understand what we believe, and we have to be able to express ourselves in a thoughtful manner. We can't force anybody to believe, what we believe. The only thing we can do is express ourselves, and if God uses us to move somebody's heart, then so be it.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, God could inspire you to minister to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's only the Holy Spirit that can move and really touch and soften this person's heart.
Exactly.
And it's a lot of times people just ain't really open to that idea. So, so the earth is only about 6,000 something years. Sorry to break it to anybody who think it's millions of years. Just being real. You know what I'm saying? And this is based on the Bible. If y'all want to do your little research, XYZ, I ain't the science guy. You see what I'm saying? As a man of faith. You know what I mean? So I believe the Bible. You know
I'm
what I
a
mean?
science guy. You can come run on with me.
Right.
I'm ready for it.
Right. So straight up. So and I feel like that's important for us to understand too. So everything we know about the human race, all of the sick stuff that happened, It's only been a couple thousand years. And we've seen that how much can be done in 1,000 years. How increasingly evil the world can get in 1,000-something years, to the point where God's saying, it's wraps. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
All right, so I mean, we already covered the floods. It means we just keep on going. Like, hold on, before that, right? I even want to point out one more thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just marvel at how deep this water was.
You're right. I jump in.
No, it's all good. But let's just okay. So the Bible says the water was so high that 20 feet above the mountains were covered. Now, last time I checked, the tallest mountain was Mount Everest. Mount Everest is pretty tall. Pretty tall.
if you ask me,
I've never seen Mount Everest. The highest mountain I've seen with my own two eyes is which one taller? I think Mount Tacoma taller than Mount Joseph. But so I've seen Tacoma in Seattle, right outside of Seattle. It's actually a volcano, really, but it's a big mountain, and this thing is massive. I think it's like 14,000 feet high.
yeah, Mount Everest 29,000 plus feet
So
elevation.
imagine these mountains 20 feet underwater, bro. That's a lot of water. That's a lot of water. And then after the 40 days and 40 nights, it's a calm. The Bible still goes on to say the flood waters on the earth was the next 150 days. Altogether, 190 days. It's about 6-ish months. 6 months, six and like a half months, someplace around there. Just quick maths in my head.
I already
Y'all
get
can
the
correct me
cabin
with that.
fever.
And I could be wrong, but it's like about 6-ish months in my head, someplace around there. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time for the earth to be underwater. That's what I get now. That's a lot of time for the earth to be underwater. Like, you in this boat with these animals, but bro, the earth was underwater for that long. Like, that's insane.
Hey, imagine you.
I wonder, let me ask y'all this. Do y'all think there's any significance to the birds that were used? Like, it could have been any birds. But why did he send out the raven, and why did the raven not find anything? But when he sent out the dove found?
If there's scavengers, that would make sense, because you know it could be a lot of dead bodies and a lot of dead things. If the raven go out and he ain't come back, that means he having a feast out there. You see what I'm saying? So it could be some stock to that. And then the dove, you know, that's probably just like a.
I mean, because like, okay, so like, it's so interesting, right? Because the Bible was saying, okay, he sent out the raven, but the raven just keep on going back and forth. Then he sent out the dove the first time, but the dove could not find no place to rest his feet because the water was still over the face of the earth. So the raven couldn't have been eaten. So it just sounded like the raven was just flying around aimlessly, back and forth. Oh, well, no, I can't do nothing for you. And he said, okay, you jokey, dove, do something else with your life. The dove was like, okay, well, I can't really land nowhere out here. And then he said, okay, he returned back to that. Then he sent out the dove again. And that's when the dove come back bearing.
Or the olive branch or something like that.
Like, just imagine a post-flood world. So now we know God, the ark finally rested. God finally opened up the ark again. And God had some monologue with Noah. And as soon as like God opened the door again, Noah came up with his children. All the animals and the creatures move along the ground. Everything came with the ark. And then like one of the first things like the Bible documents Noah doing was saying that, like Noah built an altar to God and sacrifice and made sacrifices to God. And the Bible describes God as smelling the room as pleasing. And then he said, okay, I will never destroy mankind again. But one thing he said that was just interesting to me too. Even though every inclination of his heart is evil from childhood. And that's something I completely missed growing up reading this story. I don't think it's emphasized. Because usually, as it was told to me, well, I shouldn't say as it was told to me, but as I remember it on cartoons, was that, okay, yeah, Noah came with the ark. And when they God told him, say, yeah, bro, here's a rainbow. Here's a rainbow. I ain't gonna destroy the world by waters no more. That's it. Okay, bye.
Peace.
That's all I remember.
Yeah.
But like, just like, I don't know, that line just struck me. It was almost like God saying, I ain't gonna destroy the world by flood no more, but I know the hearts of my creation now are evil from childhood. Even though, like, I'm not saying that God didn't know it before, but it was like
It's almost as if he's saying like, even though y'all deserve it, really and truthfully, even though these people was just downright rotten to the core from the jump, I still gonna make this promise with you, Noah, that I am not gonna destroy the whole world in this way, and I'm not gonna destroy every single creature.
See, and not to go on a tangent about kids, but kids are like open books, and it's just similar to what you were saying about Enoch. Your child is completely dependent on you to eat, to live, to be protected, etc. And that's how we as Christians need to be, dependent on God. It's when people get like, it's like when people get too independent that they don't see a need for God. And I feel like that's where scientists go wrong, because in their mind, they could prove so much stuff. Exactly. So it's like, I can't prove God, so I don't need God. You understand? Like, so, because I only rely on the stuff I can prove, like, because me, or whatever, just complete independence. You know, and that's the easy way to separate yourself from God, period. You know what I mean? But so, because this basically the end of the story of Noah, in terms of like on the waters, right? One thing that I feel like is just so tremendous about Noah, bro, is that he was born and raised in a time and no one else was good, bro. There was no good in anyone. Like, this something I can't even fathom, but I thinking about during the last days when people are going to be given over to their own desires and stuff like that. And I just thinking about when people's hearts are hardened, like Pharaoh was going through all of this, but he would not comply with God's message. I just thinking about people like that, and I kind of prepping my mind for that. But Noah was born in that. We have the luxury of living in a world that has good people. We see a lot of bad people. We see a lot of extremely evil people. And these are people that we're going to want to associate with. But then there are people who just aren't Christians and just don't really care about living their life right, that we associate with. And they cool, you know, we wouldn't really call them a bad person. They just don't really care about their salvation at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And that's on part, probably, we have some to blame with that, because we don't really show them the light. You know what I'm saying? We're not really just being a light or a good representation for them. But Noah was living at a time when it was no one, bro. You don't have no one to look up to. That's sick to me, bro. Like, you don't have no mentor, like, no pastor. Like, everybody was just evil to the point where God was like, "Boy, I had enough of this. I gotta just reset," like Earl say. But at the same time, Noah was the light in a dark place. You understand? As a rap poet once said, he was a flower that bloomed in a dark room. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's wild too, because like, it's not gonna happen. Like, you can't, like, to me, I can't fathom it. Even as a person, like as a young person who hang around people who would be considered cool, hang around the popular crowd, XYZ, growing up, is sometimes this crowd gonna do some stuff that don't sit right with you. In your heart, you know this wrong. They being mean to people. They judging people based on their appearance, based on what their parents could afford. XYZ. They making fun of people because of where they from, how they look. That sometimes in your heart, that don't feel right. But sometimes you just smile. Or you might just not say that. You might just shrug it off. But who really, like, and it's like, God bless the person who could stand up for what they believe in, even in the face of adversity. That's why people immortalize people like Martin Luther King and stuff. Like, when everybody hates you because of your skin, like when the system is against you because of what you believe in, who you want to stand up for, and you still double down on that, and you say, "Bro, I doing the will of God." You understand? Like, no, I feel like Noah is such a, like, it's such a refreshing story to me in that respect, but it also showing me how much I dropped the ball in my life. When I like people like Noah and Samson and stuff like that, I can relate to these people because of the conditions what they was born in, because of what they were supposed to do. I feel like personally, Nakhaz, I feel like there's a calling on my life You feel me? There's a calling on my life to minister. It's a calling on my life to be an example for people. That's why I don't even wall out, bro. Like, a lot of people I grow up with doing some weird stuff right now. And they my good friends too. You understand? But I choose not to live that type of lifestyle because I know I have to set an example. But how? And it's convenient to set an example like me when I surrounded by my brothers like Earl and Dominic. You understand? People who making sense in life. But when you surrounded by a world where nobody's making sense, will you still be able to double down for God? Will you still be able to be that passionate? You know, these are the things that sit in my mind when I think about the story of Noah. Imagine if the world as we knew it got destroyed. All of our friends, family, schools, neighborhoods, even monuments, all gone. For Noah, this was no imagination. The story of the flood talks about the evil state of the world in the days of Noah and God's plan to destroy the earth, saving only Noah and his family. Afterwards, the Lord left them with simple instructions: be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. But let's just say some of the descendants of Noah had other plans. But we'll talk about Ham, Nimrod, and the Tower of Babel on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by Dominic McFall, along with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.